Hi, welcome to the Jenn Hayward Show. I am Jenn Hayward, and I'm really excited today because one of my favorite people ever will be on, Simone Holder. She's a comedian and pretty much the most awesome person I know. I have my co-host today, Mr. Memphis. He'll be asking the hard-hitting questions. All right. So the Jenn Hayward Show is a time where I like to pretend that I have an audience and friends, and like every podcaster, my goal is to have greater connections with people and to share that with others, to be able to showcase the people and places that I like, have fun, make fun, have a few laughs, and all of those things. If someone came to me and said, Jenn, I want to build a brand, I want to build something, I would say consistency is key. Every single day, do what you're going to do, grow your brand. And I've seen this over and over again. And so I am going to do the same thing that I would give advice. I've tried this many times and life got in the way and I'd have to stop. So that's what we're doing. And I know for a fact that lots of people come on board later and watch. So we're going to be doing this. I have been doing my 14 days of positivity. I'm positive that I'm positive. We have been trying to counteract mental health issues that have been going on with myself, family members, society, everybody. Anyone who says I'm perfectly happy right now is like Jeff Bezos, and that is it. It has been a hard time for people. The groundhog, even they can't agree. Like everyone is arguing. Even the two groundhogs are going at it. Like one's like, no, winter. And the other one's like, I think spring's around the corner. And so I think they're getting like a wrestling ring and gonna work that stuff out. So we are a divided society, and that's why we're trying to build connections. Today, I only have Simone on. Really organized with David. I had some things going on, working on it. And tomorrow we have on the show Melissa Rainville from Trinkets in Spencerville. And every Thursday, we have Thursday with none other than Josh Hayward. So without further ado, let's bring on one of my favorite people, Simone Holder. Hi, Simone. How are you?
Hi, Jen. I'm good. How are you?
I am good. Let me do all these things. I wrote a thing for you. Look at that. Simone Holder, comedian and awesome person.
It's very sweet.
Yes. Well, thank you. The key to these things is kind of interesting because you want to build your brand and get an audience, but you need people to come on the show to build your brand and have an audience, right? And so I appreciate you coming.
That cycle, that circle.
Right. So how have you been? I miss you.
I miss you too. I haven't seen you I can't remember the last time I saw you.
I don't think you have, because you got sick in December when we were going to go see John Doerr.
John Doerr, yeah.
And then you were sick, and then society shut down again.
Yeah, exactly. The world, like our corner of the world shut down again. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure in 2 weeks it's going to happen again because of this. But we're going to stay positive for me. Freedom. Well, you know what? Let's start with that. Like I've stayed away because I said, do you know how hard it is for me? Do you know how hard it is to be positive? But not just that, to not post anything. I said, I'm only posting about my anything I post has to be. Aaron, the alt-right came, the right came for freedom to get Trudeau out, and O'Toole is gone. Like, is that not crazy? Is that like they came and they ousted the Conservative Party? That's crazy.
Yeah, I've tried to. Thankfully, I don't live downtown. I live close to downtown, but thankfully, I'm not down there. But I'm not going downtown.
No,
you know, it's like the stuff I've seen. It's like I don't need that. Your puppy's way too. By the way,
he's not going downtown either. For sure.
Like I'm not going downtown. It's like why would I? You know, I feel for people who live there who have to. You know, they're what's like psychological torture with the horns blaring and all the awful things we've been hearing about. What's happening with the Confederate flags and all of that stuff. And I'm like, I don't need to go down. I don't need to go downtown. So I'm not going.
I don't need to see a car wreck to know that it's bad, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, thankfully, I'm working because my office is like right downtown. So I'm glad I don't have to be down there.
Well, I think it's great that way. And sorry, I usually do this upstairs. I was meeting with my bankruptcy trustee before, and it went right till 5 minutes before. I said, I'm doing my show here. But like on that note, I think this is a good time to bring up that all this is going on, and you and I both know from our perception of the world, and that's how I like to say things, is that I really believe the division out there. A lot of people just don't understand the privilege, and it's so hard to explain privilege to someone who doesn't understand it. I said, if you can have a Nazi symbol downtown and tell you're going to kill the prime minister and not get arrested, it's a really good chance you're living in a free society, right?
Yeah.
Like
just the fact that you can do that. You know, and like I've said to a couple of people, I was like, if it were Black, brown, or Indigenous people, that would have been shut down violently 5 days ago.
Right. And just, and they would have been called terrorists.
Oh,
and
yes,
all
absolutely.
of the things.
And none of the racist, disgusting, rude shit would have been happening. You know what I mean?
Been allowed to happen. If someone showed up to a feminist march with a swastika, we're going to address that. Like, do you remember the World March? They just had another, like, because of the Texas abortion and all that was going on. And November 2nd, they had, and there was a group who was part of it who felt, and it was trans women of color, and they called out the organizers for white privilege and for some things, right? And so the women talked about it and they worked it out, and they were calling out like fractional microaggressions because we want, and here's like someone's in the Nazi symbols and being racist, the pretendian thing that people like that, as an Indigenous woman who's anyway, it was just insane to watch, and that no one stopped it. And I said, that is the privilege that they don't understand, that if that had happened at a rally for Black lives, for anything else, and also people were like, it's so peaceful. And I'm like, maybe because you don't understand the anger that Black Lives Matter, that what years and years and years of systemic oppression or overt oppression will do. You don't actually understand that. So anyway, that's my little rampage. I don't usually talk.
No, I agree with you, because this thing aside, just like over the last 2 years, I've said, these people are screaming about their freedoms or they have no idea what oppression is like. I have no idea what oppression is like. You know what I mean? As a woman of color living in 2022, I can think I'm oppressed, and in some ways I am, but compared to, say, not that long ago, recent history, not. I have
other places of the world where they're dying, waiting for vaccines. And we're like, nah, it's insane to watch. When I was in Kenya this year, in Zambia, like there wasn't a place where my temperature wasn't taken. Masks weren't mandatory. And those are the two main things. And it was just part of culture. Why? Because they're used to pandemics, right? So they're like, we got this, we've been through this, and we're like, our cupcakes aren't here. Like it's just our priorities are just a little skewed. And I understand for some people a lifeline to something that they feel they've lost, but they aren't recognizing that it's not a right but a privilege. And there's nothing we can do to make people understand that. We just have to let this play out. But I mean, if anyone on that side is, and that's why I don't like, it's like the side thing, is because like the arguing online is insane. I have never seen it. Like, it's like it all converged here, and people are like, I'm blocking left and right. And I was like, I did that years ago. But from this has really brought out people who do not, like when you say this is racist, we just think
you got to see both sides, and there are too many like apologists, and people who just do not want to see. Like I have an ex in Toronto that I basically was like, okay, until you can talk to me in a civilized manner, we are not discussing this anymore. And he's the type of person that if you don't agree with him on something, on anything, you don't agree with him, he like gets at you, like makes you feel like, tries to tell you you're stupid, like attacks you. And he was doing that to me. Yeah, he did that to me. And I was like, you know what? You called me a racist. He called me a racist, and I was like, Okay, that's a new one. All right.
That is new. I was like,
Yeah,
that's
that's
not
new.
really
Okay.
awesome person and racist. That's clearly what I forgot to put down. Yeah.
You know? And then he's got to be like devil's advocate for everything.
Yeah.
You know, because I was like, it's a white nationalist temper tantrum that we're watching happening. Oh, you know, as soon as like, you know, middle class people or working class people, you know, stand up against something, you liberal elitist, blah blah blah, and I'm going to prove to you that you're racist. I'm like, fine, fine.
And I
Knock
think that's
yourself
where
out.
people just don't understand. And how can
Mhm.
until you can see their worldview, unless they're willing to really look at it, then it's just not worth the time or effort.
No,
Because
it's not. It's
I mean,
not. But, like,
I
he's
mean,
gonna be very quick to say that I'm shutting him down, that I don't wanna discuss, but I'm
yeah.
like, "I'm not gonna sit here and bang my head against the wall while you, like, call me names, because we're not having a rational discussion."
Yeah,
You
and
know?
it's happening all over,
Yeah.
and it's hard to watch. You can't say like, "I'm so sorry." Again, the dog is he wants something down here to play with. I'm not sure what. Go. And my husband is very not helpful. He's like, "Oh, I'm watching this unfold." He's like, "Let's see what we can do." But you know, I look at it akin to, and again, not in a comparison, but if you look at Idle No More years ago, this is the two ways that they protested, or that we protested. One, they occupied a provincial government's office, so
Mhm.
they went directly to the people that were causing the oppression and sat in there. That's pretty smart. And then they
Yeah.
had a round dance. I mean, come on, right? Peaceful. And that is where, I mean, people are like, we're so angry. And I said, well, have you thought about how many people who are marginalized and have disabilities who live downtown? Have you thought about the fact that Brewer Air Center, people are dying of cancer down the street, and you're like, I get you have the right to do that. That is
Mhm.
not
But
disrupting.
they're infringing on other people's rights too.
Yeah, like
You know,
Trudeau's
that
not
people are
like,
afraid to
oh,
leave their homes. People can't, you know,
mhm,
somebody can't, because I've been hearing stories of people like trying to get groceries and they're being harassed
yeah.
because they're wearing a mask.
And that
You
is
know,
insane.
it's like,
That's
you don't
what's
want to
become.
wear one, fine. Let me
Is it
wear
not
mine.
about the vaccines and the mandate, or is it about
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
masks?
Exactly. Like, which is it? Pick one.
And we're also making people wear pants. Like, we are so oppressive. It's insane. Well, let's get off this topic. I was like, ah. But so you are funny. So people that haven't followed Simone, she's been doing comedy how long now?
2.5 years.
Yeah, 2.5 years. She's won like the comedy competition in Ottawa, and you hustle. So you work hard at this. You work
Mhm.
hard in 2.5 years. You've worked harder at comedy than I have in 22 years. I swear. She shows up where she says she's gonna be. She's writing all the time. Like, you're doing a great job. And
Thank you.
how are you finding it?
Um, I love it. I
Yeah,
love it. I do struggle with the hate that I get
yeah.
for it. I struggle with that, and I'm really tired of it.
Well, let's
But
so the people who may watching may not know. So can you give a little rundown? Because for what you're comfortable talking about, because I get really ish when I hear about this. When I hear like the first really successful woman of color, black, like yeah, there's black women
yeah,
comics before you, but not at your level, local, and you're so sweet on top of it. And yeah, so can we talk about some of the things that have happened if you're comfortable?
yeah, we can go over it. Well, I didn't realize that there was such a contingent of hate against me. And someone brought it up to me and said it's been happening since the start. Um, and I guess because I guess seemingly came out of nowhere. But what people don't realize is I'm 50. I'll be 55 next month, and I've wanted
You
to
look
do this
20.
for 40 years.
Right? So you're just, you're a big decision maker. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, exactly. But I was too afraid. I was too
mhm,
afraid. I was too shy. You
good
know,
for
I'm quiet
you.
by nature. You know, I'm not like I don't need the spotlight. I don't need attention. But this was something that was just at me for
Yeah.
40 years. And then, you know, I had a bunch of upheavals in my life, and I was like, you know what? I'm tired of being afraid.
Nice.
So I want to try all the things that I was too afraid to try. And, you know, I did this thinking that it was going to be a one and done. I took
Yeah.
a course, you know, there was a class at the end of it one and done. It's out of my system. I can go on with my life. But that didn't happen.
You didn't. You stayed because once you got
I
the bug, you.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, the minute I stepped on stage, it was like I'm like anxious and like self-conscious and everything. When I'm on stage, nobody, you can't tell me nothing on
Nope.
stage. I'm confident, I'm strong, all of these things that I wish I was in real life,
Yeah.
that's me on stage. And it was like, God help you if you try and take this away from me. But the thing is, even though I was afraid, I've been working at it for years.
Mhm.
You know, like in my own little way, you know, practicing and honing and doing all these things. And I made mistakes along the way because I was new. I didn't know anybody. I didn't have any like mentor or anyone to show me the ropes. So like I stumbled a few times, but I guess the fact that I started strong and the fact that I've worked hard since the start, that's ruffled some feathers, you
Well, and
know?
I think it's always happened. And
Yeah,
I
like
mean,
it exactly. That so stuff like that always happens. But I just find that the level of
it's a high
weight.
level. Usually it's warranted. So there's people who were
Yeah,
like me when I came to the Ottawa comedy scene. I was ridiculously obnoxious, right? And I was like needy and I had all these things. So there was people who don't like me. You know what? Some reasons are true and some are not. But there is not that with you. Another person who was like that was Carl Brownrigg. So funny, right? Started off so good, and people would say, "Oh, he's only getting opportunities because he's gay," and I was like, "Nah, it's because he's funny,
yeah,
right?"
because I get that too. It's because they need a woman on the lineup. They need a woman of color on the lineup. That's the only reason
We
you're
have enough
getting.
women comedians that they
Yeah.
don't. We
Oh
could
yeah,
have,
every woman has experienced that. Like you
yeah.
can't, God forbid we can be good, you know? Uh,
And we are, right? So
and we
those,
are.
I mean, a women only show sells out faster than a mixed show. People need to understand that is that there are women who do not want to see male comedians. They will wait for a women only show because they're tired of hearing about men's penises. I mean, and that's the reality. And that's just a numbers game, right? If
Mhm.
you have a whole bunch of 18 to 25-year-old young white guys, they don't have a huge amount of world experience of which to talk about, but they've
Yeah.
been playing with their penis since they were like 2. So they talk about it and I understand, but
Yeah.
someone like my husband's like, when I say I'm going to comedy, he doesn't go, "Oh, I'm coming to support you." He's like, "Who else is on?" Because he's just seen every bad comedian ever. You see me bomb, you've seen anyone bomb. You're one of his favorites, by the way, sitting right here. And it's not a call out to anyone. It's just saying that
That's
there.
just the way it is. Like when I
Mhm.
came in at 52. I had lived a whole life. You know,
Yeah.
I had experience to draw. I had,
Stories for
experience for
everything,
material.
right? We have,
I could write about all kinds of stuff just because I'm
yeah.
older. And it's like, fine, if you're in your 20s or your 30s, you may not have all that life experience yet.
And
By
it's
the
true.
time you
And
get to
it's,
your
yeah.
50s, you will.
And
And
some
you'll
people are
have the
good.
benefit of
Oh,
life
yeah.
experience and comedic
Yeah.
experience. I just had life experience,
It's true.
and
And there's
I'm
people like, have you seen
getting
Greg Stringer? Have you seen him?
yes.
Yeah. So I saw him when he was 16 and he came on. He's one of those guys who came out and there was a good writer. Even the same thing, people were like, no way, his dad wrote his stuff. So it seems like when someone's successful right off the hop,
Yeah.
there's a reason for it. I mean, I was
Yeah, there's
only
some
funny because I'm
there's
fat.
always gonna be some nefarious thing.
Yeah.
Someone else is writing your jokes, so you're stealing jokes, or you're getting opportunities that you don't deserve because,
Yeah. You
someone
were a
wants to sleep
hot
with you or somebody.
button topic whenever this was going on. People were accusing you and it was so ridiculous. And then I'd have people like, and I wasn't even involved, sending me messages. "Oh, I think she is, I think she isn't." And two things happened there. One, I was like, "I'm in Africa, go away. I am here on a sabbatical resting and I don't care." And two, she's a good writer. Do you know what I mean? And there will be the odd time where there is parallel writing going on when you're talking about subjects like weight
Yeah.
and things like that. But you are so solid that sometimes it sounds like a meme because that's how you're right. Where
That's how we had
I'm
this
Jenn Hayward,
discussion
I'm
a
like,
little while ago.
right?
Yeah, we had this discussion a little while ago, and
Yeah,
it's like
on your show. Yeah,
my career, what I've been doing for like the last 20 years
yeah.
is I'm an editor.
You're good at
I edit text like now on the web, but I edited documents and things like that. So my job is to, you know, condense things, say the most in the least amount of words.
See, I like the
Right.
opposite. I like to say 5 minutes of just. I was listening to, and it's good. I was listening to my JFL taping and things like that, and I was like, I could only imagine Eder going like, if we had to read the transcript because I riff more than I do anything else because, and I just love that. I love the in the moment kind of thing, being that freedom.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of bored of all of my old jokes, so I started writing new things because you have to get re-excited. But I'm not ever going to be at the level of hustle that you are with comedy because I've kind of hit where I wanted to go with it, and I don't like being out past 8 o'clock, and so that causes a lot of
And
problems.
the thing is, I want to get like I said, I'm 55. Who knows how long I can do this for? I
Mhm.
want to get everything. I want to do as much as I can with it. And if that pisses people off, knock
Love
yourselves out.
that, and that pisses you guys
Keep
off,
getting
and
pissed off because I'm not going anywhere. That's
I
the
like
bottom
that. Well,
bottom
and that's
line.
it. And yeah, let's close
Yeah,
that book
I'm
down.
gonna do what
I
I
want to
do.
leave that. Like, don't hate on, and if you're hating on someone because you don't like them, find out why you don't like them, and it's
Yeah.
probably because you're jealous or you have, and it shouldn't be a topic of conversation. So that was the other thing that I thought about when I was. Who am I that everyone is coming to me with this gossip? I said, what have I done in the past that made everyone think that I wanted to hear about this? And I realized, oh yeah, I like to talk about people and things, like not in a negative way, but sometimes you end up just, oh, I guess I was talking about that too without thinking about it. Not about this. I certainly hadn't heard anything about that. But sometimes you get together with safe friends. You're like, ooh, what did you hear? Right. So it got me thinking. But let's say how have you been doing this year? Because we had Bell Let's Talk last week
Mhm.
or the week before, and we have, and how are you feeling? What's going on that way? And yeah,
I haven't felt good in a while.
yeah,
Yeah, just like this, like what we
you
were
look
talking
good.
about. Like, oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, like all of this stuff really, it really hurt me, and it
Yeah.
really did a number on me because I was like, why do they hate me so much? Like, I didn't do anything. All I did was work hard. Like I haven't done anything that.
You were literally the nicest person, and besides maybe John Kelly in Ottawa comedy, and I can, when someone's new, you're welcoming to them, to especially new women, and
Mhm.
that's in 2.5 years. There is no reason for people to be negative to you,
Yeah.
so that must weigh on you for sure.
It does, because I guess I was oblivious to it because I've never had to deal with stuff like this before.
Mhm.
Like this kind of.
Welcome to Ottawa comedy.
Yeah, I know, exactly. It's like the best thing and the worst thing because I never dealt with stuff like this before
It's like
where
you're back in high
people could
school.
be nice to your face and then like say horrible things behind your back. And that was a reckoning because I was like, oh, I thought this person liked me. And then to realize that no, they've hated me since the start, and it's like, what did I do? I didn't do anything.
But what's
And I
more than the
haven't
others?
been
Who are
doing
these people coming
anything.
to you and telling you that people don't like you? I know lots of people must not like me. I don't care. Don't don't tell me. I don't need to know what people think unless it's an intervention that I need to stop drinking, which I did, or something like that. Why would I go to someone and say, I just need to tell you that some people hate you. I want you to
Yeah,
feel good
I
today.
don't
Well,
know. I don't
if you're
know.
doing
I,
that,
I
stop
don't
it,
I don't
people.
I don't I don't I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
Well, I
know.
think you're
But
handling it really well. But what are you doing for your mental health besides kicking ass on stage? And you are the queen of Zoom. You go and you do all the Zoom rooms. You and Dawn, I see you two the most out there, just
Mhm.
hustling, hustling.
Yeah, and she got a
On,
lot of shit too. Then
yeah.
they guess shifted their focus to me instead.
Okay, see, I wasn't around for a while because I was, crazy with my business, and so I didn't know she was, and that's sorry to hear. Well,
Yeah.
and that's a little telling that the first two black women Ottawa comedy are being harassed and being. It's a little
Oh,
telling,
yeah.
but yeah, but we'll just park that and positive.
Yeah.
But
Put that aside.
yeah, so how do you do self care? What does Simone do for self care?
I try and keep in touch with friends,
Hmm.
like over Zoom or the phone and everything. Like the isolation has really done a number on me.
Yeah, so
Like the
you're
last
single. I'm not like throwing,
Yeah,
but
I'm
you live alone.
single. I live alone. I've been alone like 2 years, pretty much me and my cats.
That is
And
a
it's hard.
dream. Oh, it's so funny. I'm like, every mom out there
Well,
is
that's
like,
the thing. Like people who are living with people are like, I kill to be alone, and then people who are alone are like, I kill to have people around
I know,
me.
because
Yeah.
it's not a natural being that we're
Mhm.
always in our home doing what we're doing, and
Right.
that's exactly it. Like, I joke, I mean, but every now and then, I'm just like, "Mama's going for a drive, and we'll see." Just and it's for make sure you're all alive. I will go and get myself a milkshake or something and just sit there, and I can't eat my feelings anymore like I used to. I try,
Yeah.
but I can't gain any
Oh, I
weight.
did. That's why I look like this over the
Oh,
last
you
few
look
years.
great. But yeah, no, it's true. But everyone, a lot of people have gained weight
Mhm.
and all of those things. And it's just been so for me, I mean, I'm trying. Like, so I don't know if you saw, I posted today. It was my first day. I actually posted about, that we're going through a personal bankruptcy. And I just try to bring not awareness to that, but because people have been following my journey and things like that, but really to focus on, and that's how I feel better, is focusing on, okay, well, yeah, and not like, oh yeah, I don't like, not acknowledge my feelings. Like, yeah, I'm really sad about this. This sucks. It's temporary, but it sucks. But I
Mhm.
also, well, I'm not in this situation, right? And I think getting an opportunity to go to travel globally definitely helped me with that. But I just
Mhm.
want to show you a clip, if that's okay. It's
Sure,
just so
sure.
cute. Where is it? It's right. I have no producer. It's just me, and I even named it. Okay.
Are you guys done with those ones?
Sister, why are you laughing?
Sister, oh my goodness! I'm
All right. So that was Sister Rose from Zambia. Her laugh is just so infectious. And and so she's in charge of 50 nuns. And I was like, there's no way, because she loves me and I love her as friends. But I was like, there's no way all the nuns are gonna. So I lived in this convent, and they did, and it's an authentic and just amazing people. But that moment was just like this moment of joy, where a child had written a poem, and it was about the hall that we're trying to fundraise for and build, and they wrote it wrong and put whole, and so it was like a poem, I sure love the whole, and it just went on and on and on, and the sisters were dying, and I was like, it's all humanity, but my stereotype about them to begin with would have been all these things, but these sisters, as you know, um, or as anyone who's followed, because that's all I talk about, but they're doing such great innovative work. So they had nothing, and they built this social enterprise for the people, and now they're doing biogas, and I didn't know what that was, and it's like turning cow farts into energy, and I was like, what? And they're all doing this during a pandemic. Vaccines are rare where they are. People, they lost about 4 or 5 nuns who passed away during COVID because of all
Oh,
the
goodness.
things going on. And and so I say that's all what's going on, but listen to that laughter, and it's finding those moments of joy, and that's
Yeah.
what I try and do, and know you do too. It's just like those silly moments, but also letting pain out when you do, and it's just being
Yeah.
real, right? And that's
Yeah.
why I like when you said, like, I'm not going anywhere. Like,
Yeah.
we're self-aware at this age. We know there's going to be
Exactly.
good days and bad days, but
Mhm.
and I loved it. I was like, when last week I was going to start doing the show, and I'm like, I'm doing it consistently. The first day you're supposed to, oh yeah, no, my depression was so deep. Like, last week was
Yeah, and
tough.
it's important to recognize that. It's important to
Yeah,
recognize that it's like, you know what? I can't do it today. Like
yeah.
today's not the day. I'm gonna do it, but not today.
I'm gonna
Because
get some co-hosts because I want this to be consistent, and
yeah,
hopefully I don't
yeah.
have that, but
And that's something that I had to really work at, because as open as I've been with like my own mental health struggles, and as open as I feel that I am with my feelings and expressing myself, there are certain things that it's like, you know, I keep that stuff to myself, and I manifest it in different ways. So eating is
Mhm.
one, because it's
Yeah.
like, you sometimes I feel like I can't say everything that I want to. Not that I don't know. I think there are times where you can't say everything that you want to say, or you
But
shouldn't, you know?
there's times you could go to jail for yelling at the wrong person, and there are other people who should be going to jail, but
Exactly, and that's part of, like, maturity and, like, being
Mhm.
self-aware that it's like, yeah, I really wanna say this stuff, but I won't, but, I'm just talking, like, regular feelings, it's like, I really pushed that stuff down, and I didn't realize how much I did it till I was feeling, like, physical pain, like, I was having chest pains at
Oh,
one
wow,
point, and I'm
okay.
like, "Am I having a heart attack?" And it's like, "No, you're stressed out."
Yeah.
You are stressed out, and it manifests itself. If it has no release, it's
Yeah.
going to show up as a headache. Your back hurts, stomach problems, all like it shows up in different ways. So
And
that's
but when they're
something
not
that,
self-aware, they don't know what's going on. Because I
yeah,
was
you
young.
just think like all these horrible things are happening. Like what's going on,
Yeah.
And especially like over the last 2 years, like people's anxiety level is like through
Mhm.
the roof, like consistently. Like, we're at like a high level of alert for like the last 2 years. And, that energy's got to go somewhere,
Well,
you
you and
know?
I aren't frontline workers. So my daughter started working at a
Mm.
grocery store, and that really opened my eyes because, wow, stories every single day, right? And whether you call it Karenism or whatever people call
Mm.
it, the entitlement of and anger of people and the way that it manifests to frontline workers is disgusting.
It
Uh,
is. It is.
and so when I was the CEO of a courier company, I would hear about it, but I wasn't privy to it to this level where I'm like, you said what to a kid? So I remember I posted on a mom's group and I said, hey, I just want us all to know that none of us are the Karen, or I didn't say the Karens because that's a trigger word in Canada. Because they're like, don't call me a Karen, even if my name is Karen.
Even though I'm doing it.
That is the
Even if
most
I'm
oppression.
failing, don't call me
That
that.
is the most oppression they have felt was
Yeah.
being called a Karen, but that's
Yeah.
not right.
Try being called the N-word, Karen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there are worse things we could say.
There are worse things you can be called, Karen.
Yeah, exactly. There's another C word that no, we won't go there. But no, and so but I said like if none of us are doing it, right? None of us are having tension, whatever. But it's happening every day, and so a lot of other moms of teenagers started sharing their, and a lot of, you guys are missing the point. I know it's bad, but it's not one woman out there ruining society for every frontline worker. And I've been in the middle of a temper tantrum.
Travels everywhere.
Yeah, on the phone with a Rogers person. And then I recognized it right away. So wait a minute, you don't deserve to be talked to like this. I hate your company, but you do not. But if you're not in that place, so I mean, everyone has the potential for moments of just crap, but it is how you view other people. And if you truly view the person who's scanning your people or that there's a long line, at the store of whatever you want to do because they're short staffed because people are wanting like and so
People are
that
sick
is
and
where
they need to take time off or whatever.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, there's well, someone said in grocery stores they're about 50% staffed that they usually are just because of like less labor, but also they're often, when one person has COVID and it happened, like everyone was getting COVID, and so it's just so funny when people are talking about supply chains and things like that. It's not just supply chain; it's labor chain. Is that sometimes grocery stores have stuff in the back and they have no one to bring it out. And it reminds me of that's again that perspective is that we get down and we see all this, but it's I think it's just being self-aware within ourselves to say, okay, remember one day I was really upset about something and you and I are friends, but we don't talk like on a regular. And I said, I need someone to talk to. Do you mind if I can pick your brain? And you were right, because and I don't do that often. In fact, I was having a very low day last week where my husband was like, I'm not sure what to do about this. So he called Wendy Reed. She's a local comic. And Tracy Arsenal was like, my wife seems to be having some kind of
Tracy. She's awesome. She's great.
Could you message her, please? Because nothing I say, because he knows he's too.
You can put me on that list too. You can call me.
Awesome. And vice versa. And Josh too. He's great. He's great to talk to. He's like, do I need to do anything about this particular situation, or do you need an ear? Because those are two different.
Yeah, exactly. Because sometimes you just need to vent just to like get it out, and other times you need to get it out and you need like suggestions or solutions.
And what if I'm the problem he wants to talk about? Well, then I'm not the right person to talk to. I got some problems with my wife.
Bring in some reinforcements.
Exactly. Relationships. Well, listen, I am so thrilled with your career. And when I get to my 100 to 200, 1,000 guests, our guests today, that's a world record. We're going to keep bringing you back. I'd love it if we could get you a regular segment. You're very funny, but you're a real person. And I want people to know that we'll be talking tomorrow too, and we have another person who has been bullied and not in the comedy scene, and it's really saddening to see adults bully adults. Now I am someone who I have not been on a bully end. I have been on a I'm obsessed about someone and text them too much. Absolutely. And I own that. I wrote about it. And it was a horrible phase of my life of which I'm ashamed of, but it happened. So it doesn't, if someone has been mean to you, or if you find yourself in a gossipy situation or find yourself being mean to someone behind their back, you can change. You can,
Yeah.
that's the thing. That's your own trauma.
It's like this, it's a weird thing because I was like, damn, the last time I was bullied, I think I was 7. And then I wasn't bullied till like my 50s. And it's like just like a mind, it blows my mind sometimes. And
Well,
I'm
it
like,
is.
I
Yeah.
shouldn't be dealing with this.
Right.
And so
And you
I'm not dealing with it because
shouldn't have to, and you won't.
I'm not dealing
Your
with it.
book.
You want to, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, somebody wants to say horrible things about me, they want to dig up dirt on me, knock yourself out.
Oh, it's going to get worse. And I'm going to tell you why, is that I see you getting a JFL before a lot of people I know. I really see it. I see it. I see a JFL. I
You
see,
just put a big bullseye on.
yeah, people are like,
really?
no, I just you have a really good, clear, you are what I call like TV good, right? I am not TV good because, and it's true. And they know that, right? Because when you're doing a TV taping or something, you're like, I cannot riff. I must do my joke because you send them to events. Remember when I did my taping, my radio taping for JFL? I was like, I'm so excited right off the top because I needed to get my riffing energy out, and then I'm like,
You're like,
back to our scheduling plan jokes. And so it does take that. And so I see that, but I also see definitely you're gonna, both clubs are gonna really want you, which way I'd say go, and all the things. So and then that is an unfortunate thing in the Canadian comedy industry, is that you can't just eventually just work all the time everywhere, right? But that's the same with music. There's things for another day. But I see that you are going to achieve all this. You have both Haywards here as cheerleaders. We, as our forum grows, you have us. Because I'm not someone who looks at people I like and when they're having good things go, oh, I wish I had gotten that. Nope. I remember when I got beat out and I hadn't seen your comedy. And it was when Georgia Silly won, right?
so last year,
Yes,
2020.
I remember the semifinals, and it was so funny. I guess we'll tell the story in the. So you were there, I think, on that one, and Jesse Reynolds and myself. There wasn't a lot of people there because most of us were veterans who were just dying to get on stage. And Jesse and I were like, "Well, look at our star power, right?" Because people were like, "Do I want to risk my life to see Jenn Hayward do comedy?" Is any new jokes coming out? No. Do I need to risk my life to see Jenn Hayward do comedy that I have seen 100 times before? No. And that's the first time I saw you, and I was like, wow. And what I remember after, because I'd seen you before, but this is the first time and then I went to the actual finals. I think it was, you were in the finals that year or semi?
No, 2020, I got to the semifinals.
Okay, so it was the semifinals. That's when I went to watch. Because I think Jesse and I thought we were in the semifinals, but they made a mistake. So we were.
Because it was.
We're in the regional finals. It was like we're an episode of Glee. I'm like, I have to perform again. What? No. So whatever day I went and saw you, because it was the first time I saw you be dirty, and I think I was like, whoa, because it was so solid dirty. It was smart. And I didn't expect it because you're so quiet. And it was like, okay, you know what? She's got a mind on her, like in that regard. So, anyone who thinks to mess with Simone, don't bother, because not only that, she has an entire group of women behind you, and it only makes you look bad when you're belittling another person. And we've all been on all sides of that. And now is the maturity to recognize it. And so I hope if anyone is watching this, which I would almost guarantee you, anyone who would be bullying you is not a fan of Jenn Hayward. It's kind of the thing. But if they are, I'm sure one person will screenshot.
Is this on Facebook or on? Is this on Facebook or?
It's on
YouTube?
Facebook. It's on YouTube. This platform, StreamYard, is great. You can do up to 8 locations at once. So it's on the Jenn Hayward Show. It's kind of sad that it's on 5 different locations right now. We don't have a huge viewership, but working on my promo. But again, it's that consistency. And I said 5 works. Any later, it's just too late for me. and any earlier is work day, and any really
Mm.
I would love to have everyone at 6 a.m., but no one wants that.
Nobody wants to do that shit.
No guests are like, yes, I will make myself ready for you. Well, I want to thank you so much for stopping by. Follow some. Do you have what's your social? It's like on
Oh
Instagram.
yeah, on Instagram and Twitter, I'm underscore Simone Comedy underscore.
Okay.
Facebook at Simone Holder.
Okay.
And yeah, that's it. I have a TikTok. I don't know how to use it.
Let's talk about that because I'm obsessed with it. Not now, but
I don't know how to use it. I have it. It's there.
And for anyone else, if you're watching and you're like, we're touched by anything we said about Mazabuka or Buzia, if you have any interest, in the link there will be where you can donate. We have 12 more days of 14. I call it the 14-day movement, and I realize as someone with Crohn's, I should have got that. That sounds definitely like a bowel thing, but regardless, we really want to make an impact on this community because it can. So I thank you so much. I was having you on for 15 minutes and we just kept talking, so it's great.
Thank you.
We'll have you back again. I'm just going to end the broadcast and you can just stay. I'm going to say goodbye to you. If you want to stay in the green room, I'll say hi.
Okay, I'll wait in the green room for it.
All right, so that was Simone Holder. And again, we're here every single day, except for Saturday, Sunday. So we're here every single weekday. And we are thrilled to just continue trying to build connections. So if this ends up being a conversation Simone and I have, super, but I can tell people we're there. And I always get information after the fact. People say, I really liked it when someone said this. I really liked it. So, keep following, keep sharing, and let's help build a more positive connection around Ottawa and the world. My name's Jenn Hayward. I'll see you tomorrow.